Morning, everyone. MarketWise Daily Report for Monday, January 8th, 2024. Just going through what's going to happen in the market today, where I stand, what the strategy is, and any particular news that has interest. Again, this is just my diary, not financial advice. So do as you please. So 8 major topics for this particular video: economic news of the day, market levels, big money, earnings, analyst calls, insider trades, as well as any morning movers. All right, let's get into it. First and foremost, always come to the levels first, which is we look at the S&P 500 continuous contract for March. This gets moved, obviously, to the next quarter in March or so. But let's look at the key levels. So, as always, we start with the daily, and we are going back into that July high. This is the key battleground. If you watched the first video, this 47.36 level is the battleground level. So can the bulls hold this particular level? And if they can, then the bull run is still intact. We did on Friday take a shot at it, as you see in the lower right here. We took a big drop down after the economic news of the day, non-farm payrolls. Shot straight up to that 47.57 level. And so we broke through that critical level to test and made it up into the next level that I specified in the 47.56 range. And we tested, and we failed. And we broke again, as you can see, right around this 47.36 level, 47.40 to be exact. We flushed and tried to test it again, failed. So we're on a battleground right here, and on Friday night we tried to do it again, and now we're going into the pivot level of 47.36. So this is a very important level for a variety of reasons. So if we get above the 47.36 level, we are going to start to try to attack that 41 level where we had the breakouts and the flushes, and then we're moving up to a pivot level of 47.48. If we do break there, then we do have a chance to get to the 47.64 level, or 69 in part because there's some additional resistance reasons for us. On the downside, we have a 47.27 pivot and a 47.21 pivot. Now, we started to get a little bit more interesting in the 46.96 range because you'll see back up in here, we're starting to test that that 34 moving average or the 50 moving average. So there is I would be definitely a buyer in this particular range, in part because of the the support levels, plus you'll have a little support level for the moving average. So, but we need to fail right now, and right as we speak at 7:53 a.m. East Coast time, we're at 47.30. So we have a bearish take right at the moment because we still can't get above that 47.36 to 40 level. So on the bullish, I'm bullish above the 47.36 to 40 level, and I'm bearish below if we break below the 4700 level. As always, if we do have moments where it crosses back over a line, you can quickly shift. But these are the battlegrounds from a level perspective. All right, let's move on to what's happening in the days. economic calendar. Kind of slow, but these 3 month and 6 month auctions always have a little bit of interest, so you have to be aware of those 11:30 auctions. They're not necessarily the big ones, but we have a little Fed speak. Bostic has moved markets in the past, and consumer credit may be a little bit more interesting as we start to see how the consumer, and we also have a consumer inflation expectation. So we have a little consumer tilt today. Nothing that is earth shattering, except just to be aware that there may be market moves during that particular time. Obviously, the news of the day is about Boeing. It was, last I looked, it was down around 8%. Spirit Aero, SPR, it was down 20+%. They're the ones that makes the fuselage. So those will be in play. You may get some dip buyers. You may get some political statement from the government saying these planes are fine, no panic, etc. So you may get a bump out of that. But we'll see. The consumer sentiment is may turn at this stage of the game and says, I'm not flying Boeing. Well, that's a little dramatic to try to manage on a trade-by-trade basis. But it's definitely of interest if it hits some support levels. From a big money perspective on Friday, we start to see a little bit more. We're slightly bearish. So these are all the ETFs and significant amount of money that was played in it. So from a put perspective, you started to see the Russell start to take a little bit more heat. People think that the interest rates, the 6 interest rate cuts, might not be the case, and they would take the biggest hit in regards to that. They took the biggest rise when they thought it was all done and the 6 cuts were there, but with some Fed speak, it is clearly trying to talk that back a little bit. From a unusual perspective, QuantumScape still has come in, but let's look at just the heat scores to where the big ones are. You see a little bit of the Bitcoin play. We got flip side on both sides of those. Palantir is starting to get some interest that I may, this is possibly be just a flat out short squeeze. I think it's the third shortest stock in the market right now. So those are ones to kind of keep an eye out for some movement. We are coming into bank earnings seasons this week. So Jefferies will lead the campaign, but more of the action is coming tomorrow with 21 reporting. I would check out the other earnings. Let's just do a quick peek, see who's coming tomorrow. From a market cap perspective, Albertsons, so we got some more food issues that was not very good last week. Taiwan Semi is going to be a big one on Thursday, so there may be some strategies around the SMH and what have you. And then the behemoths on Friday, United Health, and health is healthcare has gotten pretty stretched right at the moment. But then the banks, J.P. Morgan, the big behemoth, these guys have all run significantly. So there's a possibility that people try to take some profit before the earnings. We'll take a look at that as the days go on this week. There is a slight tilt. Again, I look at tip ranks for what are the best analysts over 1 year, what their success rate is. I have a market cap over $2 billion and what the flavor of the day is. So you'll notice that there are a couple here, the gold, the FCX, that are in the commodity space, ConocoPhillips. So I may start to peek at some of those to balance out the portfolio and get some activity. FCX has some with a 20% upgrade, 17% upside. Definitely has my interest, and same with Barrick Gold. I wouldn't mind adding a little bit of some commodities because I'm not convinced we are out of the woods yet. However, I'll let the market tell me which way to go. Insider selling, this CNQ, the Canadian Natural Resources, I'm going to take a peek at that one as well. That's a fair amount of a sell. See why he's selling. And this Star Surgical, it's a sizable buy as well. So those two will definitely be on the radar as to should we start to take a peek and do a deep dive into those. News and chatter, there's a lot about Alaska Air, a lot about Boeing. They clearly have some heat on them this morning. And I just read that they found the actual door so that the National Transportation will start to do their due diligence in regards to that. Pre-market movers, nothing that, a lot of pharma, which is typical because you get the high flyers when they release. Nothing really jumps out at me for that to play, but there you see Spirit Aero down now 19%. The last is you can take a quick peek at, these are other analyst calls from the top that come in. Those that I reviewed before are on from either this morning or from last night or yesterday, but these are particular of interest to me. Apple actually gets a buy, so you may see that the Qs start to bounce a little bit after having, I think, 3 holds or sells on it. Pinterest could get some interest as well. We have another Apple buy rating. So people are starting to think about buying the dip in Apple. And that, I believe, concludes the morning ritual. So from just a summary perspective, we nailed that 47.36 level, and we are literally on 47.36 as we're talking. We will watch that closely. With these upgrades of Apple, it unfortunately is a major mover in the market, and the Qs, so we will start to dabble in there. But we have from an analyst perspective, a little dabble in the commodities, but people are starting to think about buying the dip in tech. That's it for now. Good luck, good trading, and we'll talk to you tomorrow morning.